Hello everyone, my name is Madison Inkle and today I will be discussing the highly controversial topic of drug testing in sports. Moving into a brief overview of what this presentation will consist of is what performance enhancing substances are, who is most at risk for using these substances, why people use these substances, what deviance is and how it relates to people using these substances, reasons for and against drug testing, and we'll conclude with a real-world example that allows us to make connections between drug testing and the use of substances. So, performance-enhancing substances are used by humans in order to improve physical performance. These substances have been used for long periods of time. It's not something new or something that we're just now seeing, but we've seen it for a long time. And the thing is that these substances will continue to impact sports despite our attempt to detect and control the use of substances. Some of the most at-risk people for using these substances are among the most committed, hardworking, dedicated athletes that there are. We would not expect them to use these, but in fact they are the most at risk for using these substances. This type of behavior could also be considered deviant, which is engaging in behavior that falls outside the normal range of acceptance in society. And so using these substances is not normal, it's not accepted by society, which is what makes it deviant. The use of these substances is due to an overconformity to the four norms of the sport ethic. And the sport ethic is an interrelated set of norms or standards that are used to guide and evaluate ideas, traits, and actions of our athletes. And the four norms of this sport ethic are dedication to the game, striving for distinction, accepting no obstacles in the pursuit of success, and accepting risk and playing through pain. And so athletes engage in this overconformity because of the excitement and the exhilaration that sports offer, and because sports lead to the athletes being able to form social bonds with their teammates and stuff like that. But also we have to think that these substances are used more as a training aid rather than a performance aid. But when you think about it, the harder you train, the more likely you are to have a higher performance level. So does that really impact what you think about drug tests being allowed or not allowed? Moving into arguments for and against drug testing, some of the most high reasons that we should do drug testing are protect the health of all athletes, it maintains fairness, and one of the most important, I think, is that it protects children who may imitate athletes. We want our children to know what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, and clearly engaging in this deviant behavior is not acceptable. And on the other hand, some of the most highly rated reasons against drug testing are that it violates privacy, it's very costly, and drug testing does not detect all drugs that are used, which could make athletes go search or seek out more dangerous methods for substances, which is not what we want at all. And so moving into a real world example to make connections between drug testing and if it should be allowed or not, is Lance Armstrong. We know him, he's very famous, he's an American cyclist. We know that he won 7 Tour de France titles and had them taken away when he was charged with using these substances. And so as we know, he is highly researched, highly valued by people in relation to research. And so one person in particular says, doping behavior constitutes a kind of deception intended as a form of cheating. Secondly, doping behavior presumably leads to deceptive behaviors necessary in order to avoid being exposed. And so when we make relations between Lance and his story and drug testing, in your opinion, does this make you think that we should incorporate drug testing because he used substances for a while? How often should we incorporate drug testing? And then what does this situation say about sports being pure and good? So just think about those things, keep those things in mind when we're thinking about if drug testing should be mandatory or not. And to sum this all up, in my opinion, I do believe that drug testing should be made mandatory just because I believe that the positive aspects of it outweigh all the negative aspects. And the one reason I believe this is because athletes and their belief about these substances. Athletes will use these substances because it allows them to maintain success, maintain their livelihood because of their dedication to the game. Anything that allows them to carry out this dedication to the game and their love for the game, they will do so that they can succeed in it. And this debate will go on even if a decision is finally made. But one thing that we have to realize about drug testing, and if we think it should be required or not, is if success is more important or if the quality of life is more important. And that decision is up to each individual, and it's a big one. So thank you.